Coming up on the game plan with Ron Rivera, the Commanders are back at FedExField for a New Year's Eve matchup with San Francisco. Coach and I discuss the change at quarterback, and we'll take you inside the film room to highlight some playmakers who shine brightest on Christmas Eve. Later on, Coach and I will go behind enemy lines, review some of the 49ers game tape, and hear from Washington legends on how the Commanders can go into the new year with a win at FedExField. It's your inside look at the game plan, and it starts right now. The Game Plan with Ron Rivera is brought to you by your local Washington area Honda dealers. Visit your local Washington area Honda dealer today to see our sleek Accord Hybrid or our versatile CR-V Hybrid. Contact your local Washington area Honda dealer today for a great deal on the Honda for you. And by the Maryland Lottery Fast Play Games. Play fast, win fast today. Please play responsibly. Welcome into the Game Plan. I'm Logan Paulson here with a guy that needs no introduction, Coach Ron Rivera. Coach, big move this week. Jacoby Brissett getting the start. What do you expect from the veteran? Well,
again, love to see just consistency because, again, that gives you a good opportunity to win football games. Be able to run the ball consistently, move the ball consistently as our quarterback. So it's going to be an interesting thing to see.
And in terms of his experience, what does that bring to the offense?
You know, there's a bit of a calming effect that I noticed just because he is experienced. And when he gets in the huddle, I think the guys kind of understand and know that he's been through it all.
Yeah. And, you know, one of the things that alleviates pressure on the quarterback, you talk about every single week, is running the football. Obviously, Chris Rodriguez is out after that great week against the New York Jets, but B-Rob is back. You know, obviously, he's been such an explosive playmaker for you. What does that mean for the offense?
Well, I think it's also going to give us a little bit of a spark as well. You know, B-Rob's been really good for us this season, running the ball well, catching the ball out of the backfield. So kind of look forward to seeing what we got.
And then with regards to Jacoby, let's circle back to that. Do you think he can maximize these playmakers at all for you? Or
I think he will. I really do. I think with his ability to throw the ball and get the ball downfield, I think it's going to open up a couple other things for us.
And then when talking about the San Francisco 49ers defense, they've got some pretty dynamic playmakers. Fred Warner, I mean, he's so fun to watch on film. Nick Bosa. How do you contend with those guys, and what do you like about those games? What do you love about their games? Let's say that.
Well, I love the speed in which they play it. I really do. I think those guys play fast. They do some good things. Defensive coordinator Steve Wilkes is a longtime coach of mine that's worked with me, and I've worked with him for many years. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a challenge.
Absolutely. And then you talk about challenges. Defensively, they've got a ton of weapons that you have to contend with, and that scheme with Kyle Shanahan. What in terms of basic kind of stuff? What's the first thing you say? We got to stop. We got to do X in order to give ourselves a chance.
Well, I think the first thing is, to me, you really got to be able to handle and understand what they're trying to create with all their movement.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't overthink it. Just say, hey, I'm going to play that final formation, whether it's a 2x2 or a 3x1, or who's motioning into the box or who's just left the box, and then you play from there. And then the next thing to me is really be good against the run, because if you're good against the run, you can help negate what they do with their play action and their bootlegs.
And you mentioned negating the run. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey. We talk about him a little bit later in the breakdown. You drafted him, right? Am I right in that? Yes. So how is it going against a guy that's having such a great career that you brought in the league, kind of?
Well, it's kind of gratifying because that's exactly what we thought. but it's going to be fun. It really is. I think it's a heck of a challenge, and we'll see where we are.
And the other thing I love about the last couple weeks, Coach, is you've turned the ball over quite a bit, which is always fun to see. Have you kind of made a different emphasis on that?
We have. We go to turnover Thursdays, and we have a circuit in which we go through and we practice taking the ball away. We do it during every one of our drills, and we do it during every one of our periods in terms of, you know, when the offense has the ball servicing us, we're trying to punch it out every chance.
Well, turnovers win games, and so that's been great to see, and hopefully that helps this today against San Francisco.
All right.
Let's take a look at this week's Commander Spotlight presented by Northwest Federal Credit Union, the official credit union of the Washington Commanders. The spotlight this week is on the defense, and our guy Santana Moss would be so stoked because they've been forcing turnovers. In the last two games against LA, against the Jets, they've forced 2 turnovers, and that's always an opportunity to help the team win. With that in mind, let's fire up the film room presented by the Maryland Lottery Fast Play Games. Play fast, win fast today. Please play responsibly. All right, Coach, coming off this Jets game, there's a lot of things I think you can take away from this performance, kind of applying it to the 49ers. So first off, we got this jet sweep action, by the Jets here, and I love the communication. We get St. Juice calling out to Percy, and then I love how Percy's finishing the football. This level of communication is fun to see in the defense.
Yes. Well, first of all, the best thing that happens on this play really is what Casey Toohill does first and foremost. Against 49ers, we're going to have to get vertical.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to have to set vertical edges, especially when they've got an angle to crack on us.
Yes.
So by getting vertical, what he does, first of all, is he forces the receiver to bubble it back a little bit longer. Yeah. Okay, it gives us a little bit more time to get the rest of the pursuit in this area where it needs to be.
Yeah, and I think that's the other thing is in this blocking surface, he's the unblocked player. He's got a long way to go, but he's unblocked. So the fact that you're talking about Casey creating this bubble, forcing the ball to bubble back, it allows him to get there, and I love his energy to the football, you know, and you know, maybe a little bit better on the tackle, but love the energy, love how he's finishing at the ball, guys doing their job. This is one of my favorite plays in the game. It's this, like, whatever it is, cover 2 down here in the red zone, Kendall's down here in the bottom, you know, you just gave up a turnover in the red zone, you need to keep them to 3 points, and these are the types of plays you need to get to keep good offenses out of the end zone.
Absolutely, and what Kendall does a real nice job is he sees number 2 go away, so he knows he now owns number 1. And because 2 goes away, he owns number 1. Now he's going to just work his man, basically playing man-to-man, and really does a great job staying underneath, inside, so that the throw has to be absolutely perfect. It's slightly shallow, which gives Kendall a chance to go in there and make a play.
And there was a saying when I was in Atlanta, like, late wins are great wins, right? So this is a little bit of late win. Receiver gets the hand on it, but he stays with it. He stays competitive. We've got another play later where we're talking about grit and finishing, and that's what I think I saw from this defense last Sunday, or, you know, on Christmas Eve. So it's great to see Kendall making those types of plays. And then we talk about, you know, this is duo. This is one of these plays where, you know, we're trying to be physical. We're trying to be nasty offensively. We're trying to get angles, and you got to be physical too sometimes. And I think this young man has just shown up week after week and is just playing better football each and every week and playing physical Commanders football. And
what he's really done, Quan, you know, from coming back from the injury, getting involved in special teams, then getting his chance on defense, and now taking it by the horn and playing a lot and playing very well. Very physical, as you say, right here. Again, all this is just really the opportunity for him to take a blocker and compress the hole, which he does.
Compress the hole, and like, I'll tell you, this feeling right here as a blocker is something you never want to feel. Hands up in the air, getting thrown into the running back down, and I love the competitiveness, how he stands up. He's talking a little bit. There's an attitude there that's fun to see from the young guy.
And that's one of the things that we're getting from a lot of our young players. Really good play, but that attitude, I think, which is really good.
And then, you know, a guy that I feel like every time I do this breakdown with you, Coach, this guy keeps showing up for me, and they're going to run like a little spot concept, you know, so they're going to run a flat, a corner, so let's get that flat in here, spot, corner, and they're trying to create space for the sit and the quarterback to read that out. Cody playing with really nice vision to the quarterback, to the spot, and makes a great break on the ball.
And what I really like about it more so than anything else is, again, as we're going through our progressions and you see Cody take a quick look, he recognizes the play right off the bat, and then he gets confirmation from the quarterback who pulls the trigger and gives him the opportunity to make a great play.
Yeah, and I think the other thing, Coach, is you keep talking about him and his film study and how he's prepped each and every week, and he seems to have that ability to anticipate stuff at a high level. But, Coach, I think we got to talk to the strength staff or somebody, maybe get this conditioning worked out a little bit, because I don't know if we can let this quarterback run us down here. What do you think?
I'll tell you what, this is a pretty good athlete in Simeon, again, who again has some good straight line speed and makes him cut back. If he doesn't make him cut back, Cody's got a chance to go the way.
And then I think our guy Quan, man, he's begging here for the football, begging for a touchdown. Come on, hand it to me, I can go score a touchdown. But great job by Cody. And then, you know, I talked about Kendall being one of my favorite plays in the game. This, I think, is one of the things that I just love highlighting here, is just guys straining. It's Chris Rodriguez's touchdown run. You get a nice sift here, but, you know, like this double team on the backside could be a little cleaner, but while he's straining, pulling, tugging, creates a crease. Love the angle by Chris Rodriguez, and guys just grinding this out for a touchdown. That's got to mean a lot to you, because at this point the game was not super close, right? So
no, and what we did is we put ourselves back into contention, gave ourselves a chance to win. Unfortunately, we didn't get the win, but what we did do was we continued to play. We played hard. We played with some grit, and that's what's going to help this football team as we go forward.
Absolutely, and against a team like the San Francisco 49ers, you're going to need a lot of grit, a lot of turnovers, really assignment sound defense, and it was good to see some of that against the New York Jets. If you like the game plan, you'll love Command Center. Join Fred, Santana, and myself to talk all things Commanders. Tune in on Thursdays on the Commanders YouTube channel. When we come back, Coach and I go behind enemy lines to prepare for the 49ers on the Game Plan, presented by your local Honda dealer. Welcome back to the Game Plan with Ron Rivera. It's time for the Rivera Review, presented by DC Prime, Loudoun's premier steakhouse. For dinner reservations or private dining, call 703-840-2099. All right, Coach, got San Francisco 49ers this week. They present a bunch of different problems, and specifically one guy in particular, a guy named Christian McCaffrey, a guy that you know very, very well. Excellent football player, does a lot for them in the run game and the pass game. What are your thoughts on old Christian?
Well, the biggest thing is you just got to take a look at him, and wherever he's lined, you play him at that position. Yeah. So if he's lined up wide, he's a wide receiver. If he's lined up in the slot, he's a slot receiver. Lines up in the backfield, he's a running back.
He's a running back, that's exactly right. But one of the things I love about the San Francisco team and the San San Francisco scheme is their ability to kind of maximize his touches. You know, here's a look where, you know, there's a lot of moving parts. Love the way they utilize their receivers. Can you talk about how challenging that is defensively when they start adding guys and taking guys away from the blocking surface?
Well, the biggest thing you have to do, and again, and we've been fortunate because if you think about who we've played Miami. We played LA. Now we're playing really one of the older brothers to the system. I mean, Kyle's been doing it for a long time. You were here. You know what he's capable of. But the biggest thing you got to do is you got to understand, recognize formation, and understand what they want to do and how they want to do it. And you got to end up playing the final look. So right here to us right now, the final look more so than anything else is what they've done is they've run what we call slice. Okay, and anytime you bring that guy across the motion and the ball snap, that has to register. One thing that people say is, well, you know, they ran that to the open side, which is kind of opposite of what everybody would anticipate. So it's, as you said, it's one of other ways to create opportunities for Christian. But the one thing that doesn't lie to you is when the offensive line does what they do.
Right. Well, the other thing about this is, like you mentioned, slice here, Coach, and like slice is, you know, I would call it Wanda, right? You're just pushing to the weak side of the formation here. The unblocked player here, by number, is Bobby Wagner, but they got Deebo Samuel blocking him, and that I just love when they find creative ways to keep the O-line on their angles and maximize those guys by utilizing the receivers.
Well, the truth of the matter is on this, and as you said it, the one thing for whatever reason freezes Bobby is really the slice, okay? Right. The tight end coming from the backside. And really, once that happens, you almost want to sit there and say, okay, you pop your feet, but now now what's the rest of your read tell you? Well, the rest of the read tells you because they're firing off, getting into the defensive line. Right. This is run. You could say a lot of things, but Bobby could be reading right now bootleg.
Yeah, that's because I was about to say, like, so a big feature of this offense is this slice back, tight into the flat, right. Puts this guy in a bind too. So you see the consternation on, you know, one of the best middle linebackers over the last decade.
Correct. And again, as I said, the one thing to me right here, and for as great as Bobby is, to me he misreads this because if he reads this as run, he's going to fit right off of the tackle. Excuse me, the guard coming down to make the block. See him? So again, so as he comes right off of his hip, he's in position to make that tackle. But because the action freezes him, it gives the receiver a chance to block.
And so I guess my question, because you played linebacker, you got a lot of exposure with the position, is how do you help him not make that misread if you're coaching Bobby Wagner?
Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to see whether or not the offensive line is climbing.
Yeah, because it's that old elephants on parade, right? Right. If they're flat, it's a play action pass, right?
And they're not necessarily flat because you could see just by watching the tackle come up and see how he's already climbed, he's already gotten depth, he's already into the defensive second level. Yeah. So again, Bobby recognizing that a little sooner would have probably helped.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, like when this guy, Christian McCaffrey, he sets those blocks up, such a good runner in space and just makes everything they do work offensively. So.
And then the only other thing, too, is you'd love to have this back judge right here see what Deebo Samuel does.
Yeah, a little tug. Little tug. I mean, it's an offensive thing, you know what I mean?
Just a tiny bit.
Got to get away with that.
That's enough. It's enough. And really it's because, to be honest with you, as good as these athletes are, just a little bit makes a difference.
Especially with a guy like Christian, like, you know, what's that old Gale Sayers, right? Yeah. 18 inches of daylight, it applies to him as well. So awesome football, awesome runner. This one I thought was really interesting, Coach, because I just thought it was a really cool way that Kyle in this offense utilizes it playmakers, right? We're going to get Christian out in the slot, the gravity, the attention that he gets from the defense. They're going to motion Deebo Samuel out to the outside position here, and then they're going to run seams, and they're really going to put those hook players in conflict. And I just thought it was really a really cool use of personnel.
Well, really the nice thing about, first of all, is, and you know this, the tight end gets a little bit of a spray release. Yeah. So because he's going wide and that linebacker is trying to get his hands on him, okay, it's forcing the linebacker to stay flatter than he should. Right. Actually, what he should have done is he should have taken his exit angle, gotten 45-degree out, okay, and then reacted. Because once a guy widens himself, he's rerouted himself, there's no reason to jam him. Yeah. So you'd like to see the linebacker climb for a little bit of depth, get it about the 35-yard line, okay, because now what it does is it makes that quarterback hold that ball a little bit longer. Yeah. Because what happened was with that spray release, the linebacker goes flat. Okay, now once he clears that, you will see the quarterback, okay, make the decision to throw the ball. And this is a good decision by Brock Purdy. Yeah. See right there? Notice he's already cleared him. He's got the balls in the air. There's nobody in that throwing lane. This is very well designed. And again, the anticipation of the linebacker playing flat and clearing. Okay, now you can go ahead and hit the tight end early.
It almost feels like the linebacker is trying to do too much there, right? It's just like they have those underneath throws in cover 3. Let them take those underneath throws, take away the seams, take away the stuff that hurts you, right?
Well, absolutely, because what would happen is as that ball is being thrown, if he had to throw it out to the flat, now you get a vice tackle from the corner and the linebacker.
Yeah, so really just a reminder to kind of do your job and don't let the personnel, the formation change your rules, right?
Well, that and the release. Again, he released in a spray, so the linebacker went flat. If he had just gone straight up, I promise the linebacker would have climbed for depth. Yeah. So it's again, that's a good part of the design by Kyle.
Absolutely. And so then again, the defense, I think when you watch them, it's a group that's driven by the pass rush, in my opinion, but they do play their coverages really well and they disguise their coverages really well. And I think it presents a difficult look for the quarterbacks.
It does. And again, you're talking about a veteran quarterback, though, right here, when you watch what Kirk Cousins does, and that is, again, he sees a disguise, as far as he's concerned right now, as some sort of middle close. Right. But great job disguising by the Niners. They may have left a little bit soon. And now, again, Kurt, being a veteran guy, may have thought, okay, they're going into some form of 2.
Right, and that's because that's what it looks like, right? 2. And then I think the other thing I love about this, and the thing you see across the board when you're throwing against this defense, a lot of tight window throws, Coach. Yes. It's very, very challenging. And how would you coach this hook player here, number 57, I believe, in this look?
Well, the biggest thing you would love from him, more so than anything else, for him to get just a little bit more depth. To me, the real problem is with the middle linebacker, he gets a little deeper.
Interesting.
To me, I'd like to see him tempo his drop a little bit, because what happens is, because he's deeper, look how the receiver is able to undercut him. Okay.
I didn't even think about that because you always think about the Tampa player, you got to get out of there, got to get some depth. But if he slow plays it, he delays the throw and lets the rush get home.
You have to tempo your drops as the middle run through. If you get too deep, too fast, what's going to happen is exactly this. I had the great fortune of working with a guy like Brian Urlacher, and Brian, because he was a tremendous athlete, and again, Fred Warner's a tremendous athlete. And he has the same type of skill sets that Brian Urlacher does. So coming out and being a little bit more of a tempo drop, give yourself an opportunity that if he does try to undercut you, you can flip your hips back. See, his hips get turned, and now he's in great position to be undercut, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, but I think it takes that level of nuance by the offense to beat a defense that's this skilled.
Without a doubt, because this group plays very fast as well.
Yeah, and they've got a bunch of really talented guys, and they've been in the system for a long time. They know what they're doing. They can execute at a high level. And then the other one, I thought this was just kind of a fun one. Baltimore kind of digging into the bag of tricks here, Coach. And why does this create so much confusion for the San Francisco 49ers?
Bill, a couple things they did that was really good. First of all, they come out and give you a completely odd look, okay, that really looks like it is a 5-by-1.
Yes, right.
Okay, and what they've done is they give you an unbalance, they flex an ineligible man out, which they can do. Yeah. Okay. Right? Yeah. Yep. So now, as far as they're concerned, they're thinking to themselves, "Wait a minute. Who's covered? Who do I cover? Who am I?" And then, to Baltimore's credit, they went ahead and they quick snapped. Right. Okay. So again, I'll back this up and give you guys a great feel for it. They break the huddle, come to the line. They're in unbalanced. The 49ers are trying to adjust their front. They make their call. Everybody slides to the left. Okay, but the linebackers are trying to figure out, okay, who am I supposed to match? Who am I supposed to get over the top of? And then what happens is they come out, they fake a quick toss, get everybody to go sideways, and one of the guys that just squeaks through is a guy that, again, starts like he's going to come in and crack on the linebacker, and then he bursts vertical.
Yeah, because it almost looks like a truck transportation type of play, and then the sleep. But I think it also shows you when you can present something unique to any defense, and that they haven't prepped for, it makes them kind of look silly a little bit. So. Well,
it was very well designed, good idea, and great execution. Again, they came to the line of scrimmage quickly, didn't give the 49ers a chance to really adjust.
Yeah, a lot of pointing over here, Coach. A lot of guys not sure what's going on here, but I think that's exactly right. And then, like you said, the quick execution and easy touchdown right there. That's a layup.
Yes.
But, Coach, always appreciate these sessions. Learn so much every time we do it. Thanks so much. Appreciate
it. Thank you.
If you like podcasts, you're in luck. Check out these podcasts we have for you every single week. Get Loud on Mondays with Fred Smoot and Michael Jenkins. They talk about everything and anything every week. Next Man Up on Tuesdays with Brian Colbert Jr. and your favorite Commanders player. This week, it's Sam Cosmi, the big fella himself. And on Wednesdays, we have the Command Center podcast with Fred Santana and myself talking all things Commanders. The Players Club with the captain, London Fletcher, Santana Moss, and this week, Jonathan Allen. Stick around because right after the break, we'll hear from Santana Moss and Fred Smoot on how the Commanders can go into the new year with a win. This is the Game Plan presented by your local Honda dealer. It's time for some healthy competition presented by Ortho Virginia, official orthopedic and sports medicine partner of the Washington Commanders. Here's a look at this week's matchup at home against the San Francisco 49ers. Obviously, the San Francisco offense is dynamic, leading the league in explosive plays, and that makes 100% sense. They've got Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, and Deebo Samuel. What can this team do to slow them down? Can't wait to check that out today. If you guys want more Commanders content on this Sunday full of football, make sure you check out Command Center Game Day live at 11:30 a.m. It's live from MetLife Stadium. B. Mitch, Santana Moss, Brian Colbert Jr. get you ready for kickoff. Immediately after the game, make sure you check out Command Center Post-Game Live where Brian B. Mitch. It's time for your ticket to a dub, presented by SeatGeek, the official primary ticketing partner of the Washington Commanders. Let's hear from the Command Center guys on what they want to see from the team at FedExField today.
Thanks, fellas, and me and Santana Mouse here to give you our keys to a ticket to a dub. Most definitely. So what we got to do to beat the San Francisco 49ers?
Well, I think when you're going up against a high-power offense and defense that the San Francisco 49ers coming in bringing, you have to make sure you're playing complementary football. I think complementary football should be something that we start trying to do to end the season now. I think when you watch these last few games, defensively, we've been playing okay, and then offense has been letting us down. Vice versa. Offensively steps up, and the defense let us down. So I want to see our team go out there and play complementary football. And I think with Brissett being in the game, he gives our offense a little more chance just to get rid of that football, because you know that San Francisco 49ers defense is going to be humming.
Well, looking at the tape from our cousins up the Beltway with the Ravens, I think they gave us a key to beat this team. Stop Christian McCaffrey. Force Brock Purdy to beat you from the pocket. Force Brock Purdy to be behind the chains. And then on that defense, I hate to say it, we're going to have to run the ball at this defense, because you cannot drop back 40 times. And I know Brissett is a veteran. I know he's a guy that can make every throw. But protect him. I think we got to protect him with the run, because that's what I saw from that Ravens game. To bend this team to your will, and you brought this up, we need all three phases. Not one game this year have we had all three phases show up at the same time. Do you think it can happen this weekend?
But you got to be careful, because we've been in this situation before where we said, make the quarterback beat you. And then guess what? The quarterback come out there and beat you. So I just feel like you have to go out there and be on your P's and Q's and know what these guys are good at. You know, and we know they're good at scheming up ways to have leverage on you offensively. And so we allow them to do that. You just got to be sound. And I think if you play sound, play sticky in the secondary, and get after the football, then you should have a good chance.
Well, you know what? Maybe we start this new year off right by coming in with this victory. Back to you, fellas.
All right, Coach, those are the guys' thoughts. You know, Tana's very consistent with the turnover battle. Obviously, that's important. But Fred, with some good insight, what do you think about stopping Christian McCaffrey?
Well, I will say this, you know, when you do your studies and you go through certain things, the one thing that has happened in their 4 losses, he hasn't played as well as he typically has. You know, they've been able to hold him under 100 yards rushing. They've been able to limit his catches. So, again, he is very important in what they do on their offense.
Is he the MVP? I know Brock Purdy gets a lot of credit, but when you look at their offense, it seems that everything goes through him.
Well, it does. I mean, everything does start with Brock, but a lot of things go to him. And so much is put on him, and if he doesn't have the ball, he's still a threat. So you got to pay attention to that as well. I mean, to me right now, the two of them are playing as well as any combo right now in the league, I think.
Yeah, Coach, well, I don't envy you. Good luck today. Hopefully you get them stopped. And make sure you guys tune in next week to the Game Plan with Coach Ron Rivera.